And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to the Melanin Initiative. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and one of your co-hosts here at the Melanin Initiative podcast. I host this show with my friends and colleagues, Geraldine and Alicia, who send their love in their absence. You know, here at the show, we believe that in healthcare, there is often too much information and not enough time. But here at the Melanin Initiative, we avoid TMI by breaking things down into language you can understand. We create a safe space for you to ask your questions and share a nursing perspective without taking too much of your time. Today's a really exciting episode. Veterans Day just passed, and veterans hold a really special place in my heart, as well as Alicia. Both of our dads were retired from the Marine Corps, and we kind of represent the DMV region through this podcast. And so this is a transient area. A lot of military people and families come through here at some point during their active duty. Lots of people retire here. And so you have people coming and going all the time. And so it's just a population that we want to highlight on this show. And this is the beginning of that. Today, we're so elated to be joined by Mary Billingsley. She's going to tell us about her military experience through the eyes of a Black woman. And so we have a lot to cover. So let's just get started. First of all, welcome, Miss Billingsley. And what do you want us to call you? So I've known her for a very long time. We come from the same church. I went to high school with her son. And so this is a different phase in our relationship. And so I don't know if I've ever called you anything but Miss Cookie, but what would you like? What would you like the audience to call you?
Well, I really like that, Miss Cookie. And one day I hope to be Dr. Cookie, but so many people refer to me as Cookie. I still have that nickname from childhood. It carries on, and I'm fine with it. I'm comfortable with it, really. So I am Miss Cookie.
Well, welcome. Is this your first podcast?
This is my first podcast. So thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure, and we hope this is a positive experience for you, and we'll have to bring you back in the future.
Sure.
Before we get into our questions, just tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, kind of what it was like growing up.
Sure. Well, I was born and raised in a small town in Alabama, Marion, Alabama. That is the home of Coretta Scott King. I like to put that in there. So small town in Alabama. I finished high school. I went to college for a year and a half, and I decided I wanted to be a United States Marine. So I dropped out of college, went off into the Marine Corps, and actually I did 13 years active duty Marine Corps, and I finished in the National Guard right here in Richmond, Virginia. So I have that military experience, and all along my experience, which we'll get into, it was great. It's fun, a lot I learned. Friends that I still have today that I went to boot camp with. I have a child, only one child. I now have 3 grandkids, and I am back in school. I love academia. I love studying. I love research, writing, reading. I'm back in school earning my PhD right now in advanced studies in human behavior. So most of my days are full right now, and I just continue. As a matter of fact, went to a military event last night. We're still celebrating, I'll say, the Marine Corps birthday, November the 10th. So I was out with friends and some comrades last night, just enjoying the season.
Well, we thank you for your service. I know firsthand that military service does not end when retirement becomes part of your resume. And so we know that your continued commitment and service to our country is every day. And we have you and so many other people, active duty and their family, to thank for the country that we so love. And happy birthday to all the Marines.
Woo-hoo,
when people tell me that they're in the military or their loved one, and they say, a particular branch, I might be known to say, well, not everyone can be a Marine.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. So actually, I wore this very special shirt today. I ran awesome. The 10K of the Marine Corps Marathon a couple years ago.
Yes. Hoorah.
This shirt, and that's the closest I will get to running the Marine Corps Marathon. But at least I can say I was there.
Indeed. That's great. I wore my chapter shirt. I belong to Women Marine Association.
Oh.
We call the Crossworld chapter VA1 right here at Quantico. So a
Mhm.
lot of retirees, we meet up and we do many different things in the community as a group.
Oh, awesome. I actually spent my childhood on Quantico, so another place is really close to my heart.
Yes.
So you sort of dibble dabbled a little bit. So go ahead and tell us about your military experience in detail.
Okay, so I joined the Marine Corps in 1985, as I said, once I left college. And when I went in, I had no family members that had been in the military. I didn't know what quite to expect. All I know is I wanted to travel. So maybe I should have joined the Navy and get on ship and hit all the ports. But I decided the Marine because I wanted a challenge. People always say that, but I had heard that they were really tough. So
Mhm.
who doesn't want to go somewhere where, you're part of an elite group? I'm going to the Marine Corps. I got in the Marine Corps and it was just totally different from what I expected. However, I did well enough because I found sometimes, maybe I shouldn't say it out loud, just the humor in it all. So many different people. It is so diverse when you get there, when you come from a small town. So I was just caught up in the different things that we were learning, that we were doing, the people that I was meeting. I did well. I finished boot camp, went off to school, what we call our MOS school, and I wanted to do administration because I had been studying business administration. So I did personnel administration. Went off to school in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Finished school, stayed right there at Camp Lejeune, the biggest Marine Corps base there. So I was East Coast Lejeune. That was my first duty station with the base division. I did a lot of administrative work. I worked with the adjutant, a lot of legal affairs. I did that. That was my first duty station. My second duty station, I got to go to Hawaii, which was
Oh,
wonderful because mainly it's the weather. It's so much to see, so much to do. And from that location, I got to travel over to Japan, just, being so close, crossing the ocean. And it was great. I mean, it was a lot of cookouts, picnics, a lot of joint work with the other branches where I was at Camp Smith, again, doing administration, working with the chief of staff, left Hawaii, came over to Norfolk, Camp Airmore, which was actually the Atlantic Fleet. I lived in Virginia Beach, worked in Norfolk, another great place, working in operation. And this was over the time we had started Iraqi freedom, different challenges, conflicts. But I was able to still transfer, as we said, PCS, change our permanent duty station. So I left Hawaii, came to Norfolk, got through there, and about 2 years in at that station, I listened to a friend of mine and we got to talking, and I decided to become a drill instructor. So many of you know about the Marine Corps drill instructor, one of the most awesome beasts there is. And man, was that a challenge. That was a big challenge. You go through a lot to become the drill instructor because then you are making Marines, as I like to say. That's your job, to make Marines. So you have to be top notch. A lot of challenges there. Got through that. Went next door. I said next door because the battalion was just right next door, and I loved it. I love training young females. We say you come to us and we mold you, we make you a Marine, and a lot goes into that. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours, a lot of screaming and yelling, but you're making Marines, so you're shaping them into what you would like to see, as we say, out in the fleet. I did that for 2 years in South Carolina. That was Paris Island, South Carolina. The
that's where I was
infamous.
born. Me and my brother were born there because
That
my
is,
dad was a drill instructor.
that is so awesome. Well, yes, everyone knows about Paris Island, South Carolina. It's Beaufort, South Carolina.
Yep, that's where we were born.
Hot smothering place, Lena San Fleas. It was great there. It was close to Savannah. If you got a break, you ran off to Savannah or Hilton Head, but mostly you was pounding the pavement. You were training, you were marching, you were giving those instructions. You were leaders of Marines there, and I loved that. It was great. So I did that for 2 years. Then I came to Quantico. Got to Quantico, and guess what? I started training officers, candidates. So if you train
OCS?
recruit, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, out at OCS, Officer Candidate School. So it's a little different in how you train them. However, the same concept, making Marines, their initial training, their first stop off. I did that. That was great. It was fun. I met a lot of people. I sort of fell in love with the area, and then I started having some health challenges myself. And that's one thing that led me to get out earlier than you normally would, finishing that 20-year active duty, start having some health complications. And, things was going on. My son was trying to wrap up his last year of high school. He didn't want to travel, where I thought it might have been a little bit more convenient for me. So I made the decision to get out. But however, to pick up off on that, a lot of people don't know. I was out for 2 years and I said, you know what? I'm going to finish my military career. You want those 20 years. And I said, I could still serve, just as you said, we always are serving. I said, I'm going to serve in the Guard. It's local. I can go to school. I can stay with my family. So it's somewhat of a transition, but it was still a lot of ground pounding, and troop movement. And this is also, this was in a lot, 2003, once again, Afghanistan, a lot of conflict. They didn't want to send me over, and that was okay. Although I asked, but they said, no, we don't need anyone at your rank at this time. So I stayed back home, because when you're with troops, you always want to go with them. I have been training them, leading them. However, they left me at home back at Camp AP Hill. So I finished out just right there. So I do have my 20-year military um, experience, and I love it. And the military's, I say, it's been good to me. I've learned so much, traveled so much. I have lifelong friends, just all the things I've learned. So I am a proponent of the military. I still talk to anyone that will listen about doing a tour. I think it's great what you learn, the benefits of it is well worth it. So I love my experience and I love to share it.
That's awesome. What you mentioned that you dealt with some health challenges. What
Mhm.
were those?
They were fibroids, and many people know Black women suffer with fibroids, and I had it bad. More so, I don't know if it would be because of the training, because as a Marine, I put the pack on my back, 60 pounds. I'm hiking, I'm marching, I'm running with boots. I did a lot of strenuous climbing, pulling, crawling. And when that time of the month, my menses and things of that nature, it wasn't pretty at all. And I went through it, tried to get some help. They would listen to me. It is the Marine Corps. However, I was expected to carry out my duties, and it became such a challenge. And you want to give 100%. I'm that type of Marine. Most Marines are that Marine. You show up, you want to get the job done. And I found myself, just having all of these illnesses and not being able to overcome them fast enough without a lot of medication. So that was one of the reasons I said, you know what? This is affecting me and affecting my family, and I'm just going to call it quits for now. And that's what I did. It was fibroids,
Mm,
which eventually led to a hysterectomy.
mm. And
Yes, it
that
did.
was during your active duty service or once
That
you?
was during active duty, although I actually had the hysterectomy afterwards. It was like I didn't know what to do. And frankly, I didn't get a lot of guidance. I had this one great doctor, and we talked about a lot. She explained it, yet I didn't know if to make that decision. Plus, I only had one child and I wanted more children.
Mm,
So that came into play. So I sort of waited, but I knew I couldn't do the active duty everyday ground pounding. So I made the decision to get out, and I waited. But then I see things just continue to progressively get worse. And I just made the decision to go ahead and have the hysterectomy.
And do you remember how old you were when the fibroids first began?
Oh, well, yes. Actually, my second duty station, I remember when I first had the fibroids, I had been in about 3 to 4 years already. So it was something that I was experiencing, but you're young, you're healthy, you're moving along, and it tended to get worse. And then we really paid attention when I had gotten married in the Marine Corps over in Hawaii, and I wanted to have children, and this became a problem. So we started monitoring it, working with things. It wasn't happening, just seemed like it was getting worse as I got older, and we were looking at the clock as well. So that's what's going on, those fibroids.
Now, when you say we were monitoring it, you're referring to the military healthcare system?
Yes. Now, when you're in the military, you're every day, the military clinics. You can go there for treatment. They monitor you because, and I said monitor because they knew I wanted to get married. I mean, they knew that once I got married, I wanted to have children. So let's see if we could do this. Let's do this. Like they did one or two small procedures. I had a laparoscopy, but things didn't really work well. So it's like, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's see if we can get around that because they was looking at, how do you call it? Tubal occlusion. I think I'm saying it right. So I was even looking at,
Tubal ligation.
yes, we were looking at a lot of different ways to get around it, to have a child, because it became, I want to have children. But, that didn't work out. And the fibroids just got worse. So like I said, I went on. But more so the veteran, once I got out of the active duty, I started going to the VA. And that's where I'm getting my care now. And they have been really helpful. Now, they are wonderful and monitoring all of my healthcare concerns. Sometimes I'm always getting a phone call. I get emails. I get mail, just telling me, are you up on this appointment? Have you checked this? Come in. We can check that for you if I, have any complaints about any healthcare issues.
And so you use TRICARE?
No, for me right now, because I went over to the National Guard, and when I turn 60, I will get all of those full benefits with TRICARE. Right now, I am a veteran, a disabled veteran, so I get all of my care through the VA, the one right in Richmond.
Okay. And then compared to when you're active duty to now being a veteran navigating the military healthcare system, how would you compare how easy it is to get an appointment and be seen in a relatively short period?
Better now. I'll say that. Better now. When I was in the military, that was fairly easy because you could just, as we call it, sick bay. You could just walk over to the clinic. And if they couldn't see you that day, make an appointment for the next day. Very quick. You sat down. However, I felt there sometime because you're that day by day, some of the attention, the needed attention wasn't there. It was like, let's fix this Marine up and get her back out there. And I'm not sure you was always being heard. Now with the Veteran Affairs, VA, where I go now, when I first started, a lot of people might have heard there were issues with VA because they were overwhelmed. I mean, it was so many veterans coming, they didn't have enough staff. And it seemed like the service wasn't the best. And I noticed some of that when I first started going in about 2010. But now, 2023, I really can say I have a great physician. She listens. If I complain about things, we get to the root cause. However, the time, like you said, those appointments, but they now are doing community care, they call. I can go out into my community and get a lot of care because the appointment time is not that great. I can wait a lot. So I actually go to eye care out in my community, and my dental is in my community. And they have a smaller clinic. Some of you all might know that they're building the largest veteran clinic, not hospital, clinic, medical clinic on the East Coast, right up the road, 3 miles from me. It's in Fredericksburg. So that's going to be a lot of where you can go right and see your physician there. A lot of more they're going to bring locally because you have so many veterans between the DMV area. So that's going to be a great thing there. So I am happier with their service now. I've seen the changes, but I am satisfied right now. And I say that because I still hear one or two people say, I couldn't get an appointment. I went there and I was there all day, things of that nature. And I think that's just to the workload.
Oh, yes, definitely. Now, when you talk about that new clinic that's being built, you said
Yeah.
they're gonna bring your physician. Are you saying they're bringing the civilian physician to the clinic?
No, it will be veteran. It is a veterans clinic. You still will have, I'm sure, options to go out in the community for care, but this is a veteran medical clinic. And those are usually the largest in your little local clinics. Because we have a local clinic. I know it was near Mary Washington. We have another one right up the road from me, but this is going to be like a big Eastern clinic. So we're probably going to see a lot of people from the
Mhm.
Eastern Board, definitely the DMV areas that come to this clinic.
Yeah, definitely. And
Mhm.
then you mentioned you have a great relationship with your provider, which we love to hear. Um,
Yes.
you didn't get to select them, correct? They're kind
No.
of assigned to you.
Right. They were assigned, she was assigned, and like I said, she's really great. We really talk. I think because I come in there with questions, so we slow down. And I think she knows that with me. Sometimes I think I can get a little long-winded, but I want to make sure I'm on the right road to, meet all the healthcare and issues. If there's medicine, why, what's natural I can take, which I do my own due diligence there as well. But I like just speaking with her. And if I'm concerned about something, she will refer me further out or with another physician or specialist to make sure I get my answers.
And so that referral experience, is that also painless, quick, easy?
It's not as sometimes it can be painless. Other times it's like, well, someone will question it, why are we doing this? Have you tried that? And it can take a longer period to get those, anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Now, I call that long. I don't know of the others, because if you're waiting on an exam or something special to sit down with one, I think that's a little long. However, I just continue to move forward and charge forward.
You have
And
such a great attitude. I love it. You've mentioned a few, and so before I move on, how is your you had your hysterectomy and you're in good health with as far as that's concerned?
Yes, that worked out for me. As I say, being a Marine, I have a lot of other aches, bumps, and bruises, things that occurred. But the hysterectomy, I did get that resolved. I did get strong after that. And I said strong because a lot of that was draining my energy.
Mm,
So I continued to do exercise, which you find that is so needed, and
mhm.
just how I was eating as well. So hysterectomy part, I got that done, and I'm much better in that area.
You're saying all the right things. I don't even have to say them. Curious, would you anything you would have done differently as far as your hysterectomy is concerned?
Maybe, because as I continue to read, and I probably, what is it? You probably can help me here, Dr. Kimberly. It was a couple of other things I may have could have tried, so
Mhm.
I could possibly have a children. And
Mm.
because I talked to a lot of other women, they go, "No, I didn't do a hysterectomy. I did. I can't think of it. One or two of them. And I had did all the research, writing it down. But, unfortunately, also my marriage didn't last. And I say that in relations to all the stress that also comes with being in the military, with marriages, and with your children. And I think that was part of it. That's why I say you give a lot when you're serving, because, sometimes it's challenging to spend time with your family as well as your obligation to the service. And I think I was that, and I think with the health issues. So that's why I sort of just calmed down. I had the hysterectomy and decided to focus more on my self-care and well-being.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that topic in general is very big in our community, as you mentioned. So we are going to be devoting quite a bit of attention to that topic and
Sure.
having specialists on so we can all learn more and know what our options are.
Sounds great.
So you mentioned disability. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Disability. And I tell all veterans when I meet them for the first time, are you getting benefits? I mean, maybe I should be a VSO, they call them, or NSO, National Service Officer. Those are the individuals that help you get your benefits. A lot of vets just, they're like, they pull back. Should I get benefits? I really don't need benefits. Or would they give them to me? What's the process? My first thing I say, contact your local VA office. And you can Google that, nearest VA office near me. And you start there. There's a headquarters. You can also go on the VA website, get the numbers, call someone, set up appointment. There are also what we call sponsors. I am a member of the DAV, Disabled American Veterans. That's the largest veteran organization. We heard of Veteran of Foreign Wars, uh, what is it, American Legion. You probably heard a lot of different associations and organizations that help vets. They will sit down with you, they will go through your medical records, and they will say, okay, you served here, here, here. This happened to you. A lot of times you don't realize that things that happen to you while you're in, they come back to haunt you. Like I said, one of my other issues was I fell with a pack on my back. Like I said, I'm training a lot and I stumbled over roots. Love to hike, but out there, I fell over and the pack came down, smashed my back. So I had to go to back school while active duty. And now I suffer with back pain. So I said, okay, this is an issue. And that was one of the things when DAV sat down with me, they know that, hey, you went to back school, you still suffer with that? Yeah, we need to talk to the VA about getting you some care, getting you some help. And that's what they did. I can tell you I have all kind of aches and pains because shoulder, neck, ankles. I mean, when you're running in boots and use and you're sitting, you're crawling, those things haunt you. But you want to get with someone that can sit down, review your records and see what you are qualified to have. And I said qualified, you are eligible. That is your right. That's a privilege. You serve. And the VA, our government said, if you have aches, bumps, and bruises, you can get health care on our federal government, which is our Veteran Affairs Services, and everyone should look into it. Don't look at it as you warrant it. You know, this is something you earn by your service, and you should. And this helps because you can get the health care. I mean, there are so many programs that the VA have alone. I'm doing right now a breath work program, and it's to help me learn anxiety and calm myself down. Many of us leave the military with anxiety. You know, so many have PTSD. We are heard about the suicide crisis. So often you don't realize some of your responses and actions are from your military career, things, the activities you've done, and you can work that out. You can see counselors, psychiatrists, and they provide that to you. And most of it is free of charge. Well, all of it is, except some vets may have to pay a copay if they're not at 100% disabled. You get marked and rated your percentage rate. You can always get that increase if things get worse, but the first step is to find out if you are eligible and get with an NSO, National Service Office.
Well, you are a wealth of knowledge. I already know I'm going to have you back because I would I actually have a colleague of mine. They taught me about the veteran exams so that people can get their disability.
Oh, yes.
And in this particular area, people were driving like 2 hours from like Delaware because there wasn't a provider to do the exam.
Oh,
And so I have a
no.
couple nurse practitioner colleagues who have gone on to do that role, and they're swamped.
Oh, I know it. I have a couple of points of contacts that I can give out. Because I had to go seek help too. You know, I was just doing the paperwork, even had DAV, and they were just refusing it. You know, you had to prove it. And they always say, if it's in your record, it happened to you, you can get it, but it's a walk. And there are people that are more knowledgeable and know exactly what it is you need to provide, to present. I went to DAV, they helped out, but I also went to this other organization that sat down with me, and someone had been on the board before. So they start their own services to veterans to help them get there. So yes, there's a lot of information out there. And if you need help, you need that help. You need someone that really knowledgeable on it. And most of them are swamped.
I'm glad you really empowered people because, like you said, there is a lot of pride when you're part of the military, and that stays with you. You know, you can't even shake it off. But you also inform people that that's their right. And in healthcare, we also, and educate people all the time that they have patient rights. This is not a prison. You always have options. The
Right.
choice is then yours to make the decision based on the information you've been given.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And I remember, and that's why as a veteran have to pass it on. I was on the bus coming home one day, and it was a sergeant major. He was a sergeant major of the Army. However, he asked me the same thing. And once he found out I was a veteran, are you getting your benefits? And I said, yeah, I'm at this percentage. He said, you keep going to your 100%. He's because the older you get, lots of times these injuries don't go away. You may manage them, and you can reduce some of the pains, the effects, but you should go forward. And I just remember him saying that don't stop till you get all your health care, and you need that. So I tell all veterans that the same thing. He said, go forth, keep trying. And that's what I say. And, it works. You get with someone you can work with, and you continue to get them because they are your benefits.
And then you mentioned, I was going to say something. And this happens every episode.
I know. I just get to talking, and I can go on and on, like you said, about veterans.
Oh, you mentioned that you'll get these benefits. So when you say these benefits, is this in the course of more dollars? Like, because they're already getting, if they did their 20
Okay.
years, they're getting benefits. So how is that?
Indeed. And I will be the first one, like I said, about that pride thing. I think a lot of vets look at that where I'm okay, I'm rough, tough, I'm hard charging. But like I said, we all get older somewhere, but you get benefits. And it's a list of them. And a lot of people do not know it. And a lot of people feel, or veterans, I should say, go, oh, I did my 20 years active duty. I'm out and I'm getting a retirement military paycheck. Well, that's your military retirement paycheck because you served. But veteran comes with compensation and benefits. And compensation is a dollar amount in relation to your percentage of disability. How they do that, like I said, that's a whole nother subject, but how they rate you. You might have, just say, an arm injury. It bothers you at times, it aches. You may need some physical therapy. They might say, oh, that's 10%. You start, that's 10%. Well, there's a dollar amount correlated to that 10%. And then later, it might get worse. You can get more compensation, but all along you're going to the VA clinics, hospital to get your physical therapy, you get medication. Medication is so important because of the cost of it. So with the VA providing that, I'm blessed. I mean, to be able to go to VA to get the medical attention, to get my medications, to get my physical therapies, other resources that are out there. So you get compensation, and you do get the benefits of healthcare and medication.
And that's DAV?
DAV is
Delta
disabled.
Alpha Veterans?
Oh, look at you. Delta Alpha Victor.
Okay.
Vic,
Yeah, I don't know what the
God,
D one is.
victory. But yeah, that's DAV, Disabled American Veterans. They're the largest, I say, in that they've been great as far as their fights. I am a life member of that organization because I like to see what they do when they go to the Hill. They go to the Hill every year with a list of demands because, unbeknownst to many people, there are many people in Congress that want to cut veteran benefits. They said they would always be there for us, take care of us, and many of us are having these challenges with healthcare. We're having challenges getting our claims through the, what should I call that whole pathway of being eligible for these privileges and benefits. So we can't let them reduce them. If anything, they need to add more because as we have more conflicts and wars, we're sending more people out to, as we say, every climate place. And when they come back home, we see, we all probably heard of the 22, where they say 22 veteran suicides occurs daily in the U.S. That just shouldn't be. Why is that happening? Where's the support? That was the biggest thing. I actually wrote that down, to take from this. Support your veterans, in your home, the ones you see in your community. And I'm not just talking about handing money out to ones there, give to the organizations that support them to make sure that, they're sort of getting care all around. They're getting the attention that they need.
Okay, so yeah, is that your recommendation if we want to help veterans to support the organization?
support the organization, because sometimes you don't know how to support that veteran.
Mhm.
As we know, many veterans are homeless. And what
Mhm.
happened is you say, well, I'll put them in a homeless shelter. Many of them don't want to be there because of their illness. And we know about PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, and they need help. They need medical care, mental health care to to get better, to find a living space that's conducive to their family lifestyle. And we need people that are professional, that knows how to work. When I say give to like DAV, give it straight to the VA, you're local. There are so many local organizations that support veterans. That's good. That's as well. Yeah.
With
Give
the
it.
DAV, did you find that when you had your appointment and was it easy to get an appointment? And then when you sat down with someone, did it seem like they were patient and really attentive?
They were very patient, DAV. I actually, in this area, I went to the one of the main offices right downtown DC. I was working down DC. I called, I made an appointment, and that was easy to get. And I came over with all my little paperwork, and someone sat down with me and start going through, this is correct, that's correct. Let's add this, bring this in next time. And they did a submittal. And whenever the VA works or talks to me about a claim, they always copy DAV because they're my sponsor. So
Oh,
that went well with DAV. I haven't tried any of the other organizations. I have a friend that's tried the American Legion Association. I think that's the correct. She said she had a great experience. But first of all, like I said, locally, get with your state. That you could Google that state Veteran Affairs Office, and you can start with the state, or if you have a local one, because we have a Fredericksburg office. So it's just, you just have to look around and find, and if one person or organization doesn't meet your need, keep going. Don't stop with pursuing your effort in getting the help, the attention that you need.
that's that's wonderful. I know for a fact we're gonna have you back. We're gonna talk more in detail about the
Yeah.
disability and the mental health aspect
Oh,
as
for
well.
sure, for sure.
It sounds like you've mentioned some pretty great resources. Do you think those have been the most helpful, or is there any other you want to mention?
Let's see what else. Because I do go to VA for all my medical care, and they've been pretty good, whether I went out in the community to get that care. I would say the VA is great. Local, like I said, it's a lot of organization you could look into. I just know I give to anyone that's given to vet. It's an organization called Purple Heart.
Mm.
It's an organization, I think a lot of people heard Wounded Warrior. They've heard of those. Those are some of the bigger ones that has, been a part of something that I like to give to. I see what help there and support they're giving out in communities. I've also seen other kind of veterans drive, and it's been a lot of different organizations. But lately, you're right. I haven't been seeing it much drive for veterans lately. I mean, I used to have someone come by and pick up clothes or toys for their kids. We always do toys for tots, where you have veterans and their children. A lot of veterans come home, which a big issue is the transition, and they
Mhm.
lose that camaraderie, that support. The military active duty support you when you're there. If you have a question or issue, someone is there to get you to the right person. There's resources there. But when you get out, you have to go looking for those resources. And a lot of it don't come easy if you don't know where to turn or just how you work with them. So, yeah, I said I always wanted to do, they call it post traumatic stress, but I like to talk about post traumatic growth. I want to put a growth on it, how you go through the trauma and you come out good. So that's something I'm looking at. As I said, veterans is always a love of mine, talking to my fellow veterans, Marine Corps, not, because we did the service, we put the boots on the ground. And I just think, for your sacrifice and your family as well, you shouldn't be looking around for resources. If you have issues, there should be someone to give that, like they said, that hand, is it hand up? And it just got to be a hand out, a hand up, help you get on the right track, help you along.
Wonderful. And I can hear throughout this whole conversation that life coach voice is just is you can't even help it.
Yeah, that's my life coach. I'm also a life coach, and I work with individuals mainly on leadership, love and enhance your leadership. That's a big deal in the military, especially Marine Corps. So I'm all things leadership. So I like to help individuals, in particular the young professional. One day I'm going to sit still and get that book out. I started the leadership for the young professional. I want to do some training courses there. However, I love to provide, how should I say, encourage and impact women as a whole, men too, but I love women, whether they're in the workplace, whether they're in their home. What can I give them to better empower them to have, as we always say, live their best life, but have the best life they can possibly have in these situations and conditions? It's just all about how you respond and you react to it, because everything's happening around us. And unfortunately, it might continue to some level, but how are you dealing with it? What can you do to do better?
You're an excellent speaker, and you have all these great ideas. Do you have time? When will you be graduating?
Well, exactly. Time. Right now, I'm at an approval letter. I'll probably start my actual field work at the top of the year. I think that'll go well, and I'll actually start writing out the dissertation. I'm hoping to be done by the end of next year, because I'm going to be bold and push forward. But by the next year and a half, I'm looking at being done, and I can get out in the community and do some of the things. I have more time for my fellow veterans mainly. Yes.
And I think we talked about your school before we went live. Do you want to just share with the audience really quickly what you're working on?
Sure. I'm with Capella University. I'm in the PhD program, and it's Advanced Studies in Human Behavior. So it's all human behavior, that big umbrella of working with people, whether it's emotionally, just finding out how to make a better life for them. That's my goal, at least. That's why I want to study in this field.
And that seems to be a theme of your life, of the things you shared with us.
It truly is. As a matter of fact, one reason why I did retire early from the federal government, I forgot to put that in. And I retired early because I wanted to really finish school, but I found out I had a love for people more than any of my jobs. I always was in management, like I said, business administration, personnel administration. Have my MBA, but it was the people, and everyone would call on me. They would say, "Hey, can you help us with there?" Because they just realize how I engage with individuals. That might be a family trait too, talking a lot and just being in the crowd. I don't mind. I love sharing. That was also, in the Marine Corps, we said mission accomplished and troop welfare. I took care of my troops and I got the mission done. So that just still in me, to take care of individuals, help them along, support them.
And you mentioned IRB, so do you have a working title for your dissertation?
Yes, it is. I should have it out because I've done this so much. It is just stressing me out. So I had to change it. But it's the experience of women who miscarried doing military service, active duty. And I sort of picked that because I saw that, like we're seeing about healthcare. And I said, miscarriage, such a big deal. And I don't think it's getting all the attention that it should. And also for possible later, once they become veterans, because I will be talking to female veterans about their experience. It's going to be a phenomenological study. So it's more like, as they say, the storytelling to get their lived experience about this situation.
I would love to have you back after you complete your program to share
Sure.
the research that you found in the literature and also what you discovered during your own data collection.
Absolutely. It's a big deal, I think. And I can't wait to get through it to see what I find out, because I know it's important. It is
Yeah,
important.
it is. Certainly, I've never even thought about that topic, but
Yes,
it's happening all the time, just like the ones about fibroids. Yeah, and if you come
exactly.
across any women who would love to share their story on this platform, you have my information. We'd love to have them on.
For sure. I have a couple of people. Like I said, I'm going to get out there and do that research and recruit. But I know that's why I sort of gravitated toward that, because I knew a couple of females went through the experience and it wasn't so great. So we want to just highlight that experience.
Yeah, and probably parallels having miscarriages while incarcerated too.
Mm. Yes, I would say so. That is a traumatic event.
Definitely. So I'm going to throw your pictures on the screen. If you're listening, you'll have to watch us on YouTube to see some pictures that Miss Cookie, soon to be Dr. Cookie, has shared with us. And she's just going to tell us what we're looking at.
Here we are looking at me. I was a sergeant of Marines, as we say. I took this picture when I was on Paris Island, and then I'm in what we call our dress blues. I'm in my official military uniform there.
Oh, wonderful. And about how you said Paris Islands, this was like a year, like 3 or 4?
So let's see, how many years? This was in 1992 to 1995.
Oh, okay.
Sergeant, I did have issues there. That's another one. I think I took this one actually in Hawaii. That's my second duty station. A little younger when I first found out I had fibroids, but loving Hawaii, loving the Corps there, learning so much. I think I had just recently got promoted to sergeant.
And I love these pictures too. They take me back. I love this. Needs to be in a museum. This has to be in a museum.
Oh, I know. I have a sister that really loves that, and she speaks of it. That's where I'm Paris Island. I'm in front of one of my platoons, standing out front. I have a black belt around my waist, so that means I am the senior drill instructor. So I always say, those are my girls. I'm leading, I'm guiding them, I'm setting the example. I'm in a position to be more of a mother. And I think we were just at a formation, drilling, or maybe it was getting close to graduation, just looking at the uniforms. But as you can see there, leader of Marines standing forth, I was making Marines at that time.
That's beautiful. We could have talked just about this picture.
For sure.
And here?
Yeah, that's a couple of years ago. Before COVID, I was at the National Marine Corps Museum right here in this area, right outside the gates of Quantico Base. And I love that museum. I say it's my museum, which it is. I mean, I'm a Marine, and I think everyone should visit it. So many pictures and how do they call it? The wars we've fought, the people that serve, the training we go through. It's really, really great place to visit.
Yeah, I actually still have. I'm embarrassed to say I haven't been there yet.
Oh my gosh, no way.
I know it's on my list though.
I'm going to get you there. Don't worry,
Oh,
Dr.
good.
Cameron. So here, this was just a picture I threw in. This was a Memorial Day parade. Like I said, there's so many groups and clubs, and this was a bunch of female call them and say, hey, we're going to march in the parade. I go, we're just going to march in it. It was national, downtown DC. I said, I want to go. I find myself volunteered a lot for Marine Corps events and things of that nature. I meet new people, and I got out there and we just put on our t-shirts and we just walking, singing cadence and walking down. It was a Memorial Day parade downtown DC.
For those watching who aren't familiar with the military, can you just tell them what cadence is?
Oh, with cadence, that's when everybody hear you call 1, 2, 3, 4, Marine Corps, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was up in the morning with the rising sun, and we start singing. We do that when we march. We do it when we run, and it's really to help you with your breathing. It's help you stay in step. We stay in step when we're walking. That's marching. When we're running, stay bonded and together. So we sing cadence. They're just ditties, little songs that we sing to keep us motivated as we go along.
We used to sing them on the bus, actually.
As school children. Yes. Yeah. You're on the base, you hear it, you see it, you walking down the base or driving along, you see Marines all the time running, calling cadence, as we say.
Can you do that like left, right, left on your left, right?
Oh, yeah. That was a big, because when you're a drill instructor, you are marching all the time, and it's a distinct, so left, right, left, right, left, left, forward, march. So I have to get my voice back. I haven't done it in a while, but yeah, calling cadence and just getting them from point A to point B.
Were they calling you Cookie back then? Because I have a hard time believing it.
I've always been Cookie. I mean, all my friends. I mean, in high school, going off to college, in the Marine Corps, in classrooms with my instructors, because once somebody hear Cookie, they go, who's Cookie? And they go, she is. And they go, oh, you mind if I call you? I go, no. So even in professional settings, I've had people call me Cookie. My pastor calls me Cookie. I went to church, me and my mom, just last week for our Veterans Day recognition. And he said, Cookie! And a lot of people, Pastor, I mean, Cookie. So I'm used to Cookie, Dr. Cookie, Miss Cookie, Dr. Cookie one day soon. So yeah, that's it. But my recruits did not. They call you by your last name, senior drill instructor or drill instructor, sergeant, your rank and your last name, a requirement for them for sure.
Well, you mentioned your mom. She's very close to our family. We
Yeah.
share a birthday, and
Yes.
I can't wait to see her in person. So we want to send love to her since
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll let her know that. I'll replay this and let her watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that wraps up our questions. Before I do my closing, is there anything else you want to share with the audience?
Well, the only thing I would like to share, thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it. Be glad to come back anytime. Like I said, talking all things veterans. And the biggest thing to take away, I would like for individuals to take away is the support of your veterans. Whether you know them or not, support the organizations and just give when you can. And just have a kind word, if nothing else.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. We really are really and how can people connect with you?
They can connect with me. I am on Facebook at Mary Billingsley, but I do have a website.
Hmm.
It's ISMA Concepts. It's sort of long. That's why I said maybe
You
I
can
should have
send
wrote
it
it
to
out.
me and I'll put it in the description
Okay.
box.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, I do some work right now. I do have an Instagram account and I'm setting up a lot of newer things because the closer I get done with my studies, the more I can get some information out there to help those individuals that are looking for some support and services.
Wonderful. And you mentioned you're a life coach. Are you still taking clients while you're in this dissertation phase?
No, I had to stop. I mean, because I like to give myself and I give a lot. So
100%. You told, yeah.
right. So I'm not, maybe once I do the field study, I can get that done because that's going to be a lot of interaction with different participants. But right now, I am not taking on clients, but I will give you that information because you can always, check into it. Sometimes it's unique and I'll spend a little time with certain individuals.
When you collect that data, you're going to be doing interviews?
Yes, I will be doing interviews. I'm going to do semi-structured interviews. I will transcribe that. I will do a thematic analysis of all the information I have so we can put that information out there. I have a lot I want to do and some individual I want to contact once I get that. Well, I should say individuals, organization. Yet I won't talk about that too much yet. I was told, I'm not getting into policies right now in the military. I want to finish the dissertation, get it stamped, get it peer reviewed, and then I can look into how best to serve, the community.
Well, if during the when you get to the part of your research where you need to get samples, if you want to send me if you're interested in soliciting the public, we can put
Sure.
the information down so that they can let you know if they're interested. Because I know that's actually one of the biggest challenges
Well,
is
well, I'm glad you said that because, of course, I have two that are organizations to be approved by RB. However, we can do snowballing, so
Mhm.
that's word of mouth. So I definitely can get that information over to you.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. This was an awesome interview. You are full of information. We could have taken this in a million directions. And that's why we're going to have you back on more than one occasion,
Thank
actually.
you.
Yeah, more of like a forum roundtable. That's what I was picturing.
Absolutely.
So we thank you for sharing your military service and your experience. We can definitely see you are a woman who is not afraid of challenges. I actually wanted to join the Marine Corps, but my dad wouldn't let me. So hearing you talk, it just made me feel like that's me. That's what I would have done.
Yes.
And it was so cool to just hear this story from a woman's perspective. We think you shared some really valuable resources that I can't wait to share with the community and that we'll delve into more deeply in the future. And we just thank you for your commitment to the service, to continue everything you mentioned. You were still trying to serve others, and you had such a positive perspective and attitude about it. And that's the heart of our military, right? It never
Right.
ends. It never ends. And for all the work that you do, you really deserve more than you're getting. And so we hope through this platform we're able to contribute our part in some way. And I think today we started doing that. So we thank you for allowing us to come into your life and share your story with the global community.
Yes. Well, thank you for the opportunity. I love all things veterans. It's been a great experience. Thank you so much, Dr. Kimberly.
So remember, everyone, this show is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed here are our opinions alone. They are not a representation of any of our affiliations. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, you should seek medical attention from your healthcare provider. If you're experiencing a physical emergency, you should call 911. And if you or anyone you know might be experiencing a mental health emergency, you should call 988. You can email us your questions and show ideas to tmi.melanin@gmail.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Please share the show with your friends and rate us on Apple and Spotify. It really supports the show and helps get the message to those who really need to hear it. You can find all of our links in the bio, and all the resources that we brought up today will be down there too. We'll update them. Sometimes after I post shows, people send me more information, and so I just update the description box. But of course, you can always contact us directly too. Remember, we release a new show every week on TMI Tuesdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube and all your favorite podcast apps. This is actually a special one, so this is going to go up on Thursday, and it'll be there for your viewing pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you again, Miss Cookie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.